With breaking news, Pennsylvania's highest court overturned Bill Cosby's sex assault conviction today after finding an agreement with a previous prosecutor prevented him from being charged in the case. Cosby has served more than 2 years of a 3 to 10 year sentence at a state prison near Philadelphia. He had vowed to serve all 10 years rather than acknowledge any remorse over the 2004 encounter with an accuser. The 83-year-old Cosby, who is once beloved as, quote, America's dad, was convicted of drugging and molesting the Temple University employee at his suburban estate. He was charged in late 2015 when a prosecutor armed with newly unsealed evidence, Cosby's damaging deposition from her lawsuit, arrested him days before the 12-year statute of limitations expired. The trial judge had allowed just one other accuser to testify at Cosby's first trial when the jury deadlocked. However, he then allowed 5 other accusers to testify at the retrial about their experiences with Cosby dating back to the 1980s. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court said that testimony tainted the trial, even though a lower appeals court had found it appropriate to show a signature pattern of drugging and molesting women. Cosby was the first celebrity tried and convicted in the Me Too era, so the reversal can make prosecutors wary of calling other accusers in similar cases. The law on prior bad act testimony varies by state, though, and the ruling only holds sway in Pennsylvania. Prosecutors did not immediately say if they would appeal or seek to try Cosby for a third time. The justices voiced concern not just about sex assault cases, but what they say as the judiciary's increasing tendency to allow testimony that crosses the line into character attacks. The law allows the testimony only in limited cases, including to show a crime pattern so specific it serves to identify the perpetrator. So we will obviously be continuing to follow this story here for you. If we do get some live pictures from Philadelphia, we will be bringing that to you here on News Now from Fox. But to continue this story and really get some more insight right now, well, on the phone right now, we do have attorney Ben Taylor. Give us a little context about this developing breaking news. Ben, always great to hear from you, and thank you for joining us on News Now from Fox.
Yes, it's crazy to hear the story that Bill Cosby's conviction got overturned and everything. So this is very rare to have that done. So I'm in shock too as an attorney and looking at the legal analysis. But once the conviction gets overturned, you get a new trial, or you might even just go walk free.
A lot of people want to know, Ben, since this was overturned, how quickly can we see him leave prison?
Well, a lot depends on what the judge says. If the judge says, it's overturned and you walk away free, he could be leaving prison within 24 hours or sooner. Or they could, have a rebooking and have him, back in jail for a new bond and a new trial. A lot depends on what the judge's requirements are, but usually once your conviction is overturned, you either walk away free or you get a new bond and a new trial in the future. So it's going to be interesting to see what exactly will happen. That'd be determining up to the judge and the court.
Right. Obviously, this was a shocking development, and then also this has to be really, really gut-wrenching for the victim as well.
Yes, there's a lot of victims in this case, and based upon all these victims, I'm sure they're going to be shocked to hear it overturned, and they might have to go to trial again in the future and testify in the future. So only time will tell, but for victims, it is a re-traumatizing experience as a victim to have to go back and testify in the courtroom after you've already, testified already case and everything. So it's going to be, only time will tell to see what happens, but I can understand why some of the evidence was overturned. I understand that, there was something in his civil court that was supposed to be sealed that shouldn't have been coming out in the criminal case. So no matter how you feel about Cosby himself as a person, the judge rules based upon the law, what should happen. And based upon the law, if the judge feels, the Court of Appeals feels that there was something illegally done during his trial, every person who goes to trial has the right to a fair trial under our Constitution. Innocent or guilty, but if you're not given a fair trial, you have a chance to get your conviction overturned. And that's what we're seeing here.
And
so it could be based upon a lot of different evidence.
Is there anything that prosecutors can do now? I mean, obviously, they got to be feeling gut-wrenched, too, as well, of putting all this time, effort, and really resources into this case and now seeing it being dropped. What are their next moves, if any?
So, I mean, prosecutors are going to go back and look at their evidence, look at their case. There's a couple of things. When you have your conviction overturned, doesn't mean that you're just totally free. A lot of times a conviction overturned, meaning that the prosecutor can go back and recharge you unless it's double jeopardy. So under our laws, you can't be charged for the same charge if it's double jeopardy. So that the prosecutor is going to look and see, are they going to be charging him with the same thing? So they might not even charge him again. Or they could charge him for something new or something a similar charge. But if that does happen, either the prosecutor can offer him a plea, can offer him time served, or not charge him at all. And a lot of times you might have to go back to the grand jury to get a conviction. So the grand jury, people are at home watching this, and the grand jury can decide whether or not to bring charges. But it's going to be interesting to see what the prosecutor's strategy will be, whether or not they're going to want to bring new charges or similar charges, or just drop the whole case in itself and Bill Cosby walks free.
And for those of you just tuning in right now, we are covering this breaking news of Bill Cosby's conviction being overturned right now. On the phone with us is attorney Ben Taylor, always providing us with some great insight when it comes to legal analysis. We had him on for all of the Derek Chauvin trial as well. So we can continue to bring that to you. Last question, Ben. His age, obviously, could this play a factor, maybe not being charged again? Could they just say, all right, we're just not even going to go through it now just because of the age factor?
I mean, age can play a factor, but under the law, if you're a victim and you feel like that you were sexually assaulted, you don't care what age the person is. Your accuser, the defendant, age shouldn't play a factor, shouldn't weigh in. Legally, it shouldn't weigh in. But people are human. And judges are human. So judges might say, hey, why are you prosecuting a man who, looks like he might be blind, looks like he's old? But however, if there's evidence there to charge a person for a sexual assault and they actually did do it, the prosecutor's job is to do justice and to prosecute. So age could play a factor, but under the law, the prosecutor has to prosecute based upon the law and not use age, race, sexual orientation, anything. Everybody has to be prosecuted under the law in our justice system fairly.